Hey, man.
Hey, man.
Let's talk about this beer before we talk about episode 5 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about for Falcon the Winter Soldier, so
We're
going to jump into this beer right now.
We'll talk about the beer first, because... Yes, definitely classic. Definitely classic.
Absolute. Arrogant Bastard.
Yes, definitely classic. It is, it's an old favorite from us. Like, this one goes back. This takes us back, man.
I remember when even I had trouble drinking this beer. Like, I used to drink, like, a lot of Dos Equis. Fat Tire was probably, like, the darkest beer that I drank a lot. But then, when I went to a bar with a couple people, and somebody decided, hey, I'll buy the first round. And they got Arrogant Bastard. And my palate was not ready for this monster of a beer.
It's an onslaught of flavor.
Now, granted, this was back in 2000, maybe 13.
Probably.
Like, yeah. Yeah, probably about 2013, 2014 for me, at least. That's roughly a little after I turned 21. And I was actually able to go to bars. Up until then, I was a pretty steadfast Sam Adams, Fat Tire. A Red Hook was a big one for me at that time.
I remember seeing a bunch of Red Hooks in you guys' fridge.
And the classic Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Those were my beers. And then somebody's just all like, hey man, you should try Arrogant Bastard.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't him. No, this was
before.
I mean, this was before we were like really hung out.
Yeah.
You know, this was before we were like regularly hanging out and drinking. This is way before I even really drank with you.
Yeah, true.
Because when I first met you, I didn't really drink at all. And then I left, and I came back, and then I drank a lot.
This is true.
And,
these are true facts.
And this beer, man, this has got a lot of history for me. Arrogant Bastard, 7.2% ABV. Obviously, we're talking about Falcon the Winter Soldier, so we're also talking about Stone. And this is 100% Stone's flagship beer. This has got the history. This has got the flavor. This has got the character of Stone.
Yep.
All embodied in it.
Easily.
The original slogan from Arrogant Bastard is "You're not worthy."
You're not worthy.
And I mean, man, this is a beer that fights you. You taste it, and it's just bitter, it's hoppy, it's aggressive. But when you can acclimate to that, you find some little nuances. A little bit of different flavor to it. It's actually a pretty nice beer when you can get past that incredible bitterness.
Yeah, exactly.
What's something that's incredibly bitter right off the start? I mean, like
the... I don't know, man.
Maybe like a really sour grapefruit, maybe.
Yeah.
Like a really underripe grapefruit. I don't know.
Maybe like a ginger candy.
Yeah, ginger candy would work. I thought ginger at first. That packs the heat, but it doesn't really tell you what the bitterness of this beer really gets to.
Yeah.
It's definitely something else, man. If you've never had like a aggressively hopped IPA, man, this is the one to go for.
True.
And if you like that kind of thing, like this beer will get you there. 7.2%, so right in that upper middle category for ABV.
Yep.
I mean, this beer is very forward with bitterness, hops, some malts to it, but man, that it's specifically designed to pucker your face with hops and bitterness.
Yeah.
It's good, though.
Yeah, it really is good. Yeah, you were the one that introduced me to this beer.
Oh, was I?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, what is this? I've never tasted anything like this.
Yeah,
this is delicious.
It's literally something different. Like,
yeah.
Even to this day, I've never had a beer that quite tastes like this.
True.
And this was before even the hop craze of, like, the 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 2010s really went for doubling down on hops. Like that West Coast style IPA flavor, which is very hop forward, very citrus, bitter flavor profile. Arrogant Bastard really went for that bitterness, that aggressive take. Trying to make fun of you for not being able to drink it steadily.
Definitely.
I mean, that definitely influenced my opinion on it, because I was 20, 21, 22 each time I got introduced to this beer, and each time this beer kicked my butt until eventually my palate kind of adapted to, well, you're in your early 20s. Just drink it.
Yeah.
Don't be a bitch. Just drink the beer.
Just drink the beer.
And then that's probably what really acclimated my palate to very aggressive flavors. Man, this beer has so many fond memories for me. And some memories that I wish I could remember. But, absolutely great beer. It hits a little citrus.
Very slight.
You get some malts to it, but man, this thing is all about bitter.
Oh yeah.
It's all about bitter. It's all about hops, and if you can get past that, it's like drinking an Islay Scotch. Like if you can get past the smoke of an Islay Scotch, you can find more underneath.
Yep.
But you got to really acclimate yourself. You gotta look for it.
There's a little bit of roastiness to it. I think it might be the malts.
Yeah, it's definitely the malts, because that's how they malt barley, is by smoking it, by roasting it, drying it out.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you get. Whatever they do, this beer, it's a tough one to really dive into.
It really is, but it's definitely something you gotta dip your toes into. Take it easy, and then get to it, because it is totally worth it. It's a delicious beer, and you get to be an arrogant beer. You can be an arrogant bastard after it.
You are an arrogant bastard if you enjoy this beer. I'm not gonna lie about that.
We
because
we are.
either you understand the beer, or you're just a bastard for trying to. But this is the kind of beer that'll kick you in your teeth and leave you wanting more.
Yep. It's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Pretty much sums it up.
And that's kind of my palate. I kind of have to be kicked over the head with flavor for me to really want to get into it.
Yep.
Which is why I like smoke and hops and aggressive flavors.
What would you rate the beer?
Dude, this is probably nostalgia talking, but I want to give this a 5. It probably doesn't deserve a 5. I'm just going to be totally honest. This beer is not for everyone.
No.
It's very hard to get into. Even when you start to acclimate to the bitterness, sometimes the malts and the hops just wash over your palate, and you're just like, oh, I was about to get something, and then nothing. It just, boom, your palate is just,
Just
it kind of feels like You take a sip, and there's just like needles popping out of your tongue.
Yep.
Like, that's how bitter it is. But it's still so wonderful. So, I'm gonna, as much as I want to give it a 5, I'm gonna give it a 4.5. Because it's not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And even for me, like, I couldn't drink this all night. But I will drink this tonight.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely something that you need to acclimate to, like develop your palate, kind of like when you're drinking wine. You have to find the nuances in wine by tasting wines, getting into it, and stuff like that. Do the same for this beer. I mean,
it's a very much take your time, but also don't take your time because this beer tastes terrible when it's warm.
Oh, yeah.
It's really bad when it's warm.
Do not drink this warm. This needs to be a cold beer.
This is like the epitome of... You want to drink this between 45 and 55 degrees.
Yep.
Anything after that, 56 degrees, terrible.
Don't do it.
Awful beer.
Yep. That's when it's rough to drink.
Yeah, it's a very wild beer.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have it in the right conditions, and you gotta be acclimated to it. And honestly, like, if I didn't already love this beer, if I were drinking this new, uninitiated, even with my current palate, I would just be all like, oh my god, this beer is just like licking the skin of a grapefruit with all of the tannins and like just like chewing on the white parts that you peel off the grapefruit.
The rind.
Like the inside of the rind. Like that's how bitter and puckered my mouth is.
Yeah. Oh, that's what good bitterness. Like the inside of a rind of an orange.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You get no sweetness. It's
Very
all
much.
bitter.
It's all bitter. There's like you gotta hunt for just the slightest hint of like that chocolatey malt.
Yep.
You gotta hunt for like that little bit of sweetness because that bitterness dominates your palate.
Oh yeah, easily.
And we're gonna talk about dominating things in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is likely going to be edited very weirdly because we have a lot to talk about and very little time to cram it into, so we're going to do our
the
best.
best we can.
And keep an eye on the time, so if we're not paying attention to you, we're actually just like, oh yeah, no, that's the time. We've already gone into the 12, 13 minute.
Yeah, we've already gone too long about talking about the beer, which we tried not to, but whatever. It's a nostalgia beer.
About beer,
it's a nostalgia beer, and we're passionate about it. Yeah,
we really are. I love this beer.
4.5s across the board.
4.5 across the board, but it's not for everybody. It's a very aggressive beer.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a newbie to the IPA scene, dive into it.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it. Just head first into this beer because it's going to be a new experience, and you're going to greatly diversify the way your tongue tastes things by experiencing the absolute epitome of bitter from a beer. I have never tasted anything as bitter as Arrogant Bastard.
True facts.
After revisiting it now, I have realized that nothing is quite as like aggressively bitter as
I think what was it? I think the closest thing I've had would be the Torpedo by Sierra Nevada.
Torpedo is fairly aggressive. I don't think it reaches here.
I don't know if it's as bitter.
You know what?
I don't know if it's as bitter, but I think it'd probably be the closest thing that's out there.
The original Green Coast West Coast IPA was also very bitter, but it was more friendly. And then I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's another one. I I don't know. I can't think of it right now. But if I think of it, I'll burst it out amid all of our discussion.
Yes.
Because we have a lot to discuss. This episode was so good.
It was. There was a lot.
These episodes have been getting progressively better.
Oh, yeah, easily. And longer.
And
but
longer.
You don't notice it, though.
Well, yeah, because you're so involved with everything going on.
They're just so good at sucking you in and be like, yeah, we got you.
I do have to say, this episode was the most 80s. And I say that because, spoiler warning, of the whole fixing the boat scenes.
Yeah.
Like, all of the scenes that involve fixing the boat.
Yeah.
Is we get scenes of Bucky and Sam being friendly, Bucky somewhat flirting with Sam's sister, Sam being all like, don't flirt with my sister.
I'm Bucky.
And it's just so good. It's like, I want to be kind of like more objective about it, but the slice of life moments in the show are so, like, they're just feel good. Mm-hmm. And they really hit you. Yep. And yeah, I really enjoyed all of those, putting the boat back together.
Yeah, the whole getting the community involved.
Yeah,
moments.
And the moments where Sam is talking to his nephews, and he's like, "Oh, it's going to be a real shame we have to sell it," and then they're all like, "Well, no, Mom says we can't sell this, and nobody's going to want to buy it."
And then he said something in Vietnamese. And walked off.
Yeah.
That was a good little tidbit. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
It was. I mean, there's a lot of very poignant parts in this episode.
I mean, this episode points out a lot about community, but also about how the government treats their soldiers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, obviously, the beginning of the episode, we cut into John Walker basically, like, escaping the scene of the crime. Mm-hmm. Like, he knows he messed up. Mm-hmm. He knows he messed up, and he's getting away from it. And he dips into this warehouse where he runs into Sam and Bucky. Sam and Bucky come in after he's had a little moment, and they fight him for the shield. And you were right.
I was right.
You were right. They do kick the crap out of him and take the shield from him.
They did get also. He did get a bunch of good hits though too.
Absolutely.
Like he definitely didn't just go down easily.
Absolutely. I feel like if he wasn't as flustered from the immediate situation that he just came back from, he could have possibly handled Bucky and Sam.
Yeah.
Like, it was a very, it was a poignant moment where you see that John's not somebody to be messed with. Yeah. He's
very adept at his fighting skills, and you definitely see that throughout this entire beginning part with his fight, and it's very apparent why they picked him.
Yeah. I mean, to point out, John Walker was the super soldier of regular soldiers. He was top of his class, always completed his mission. He was the best of the best of absolute human, potential. The only downside is that he's still arrogant, and he's still very self-centered.
Yeah. Well, that and
in spite of everything.
It's like it's not always about the mission. Sometimes you have to do what's right. Yeah. And what's right is not always going to be what the higher ups agree.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where Steve Rogers, Captain America, always differed. He was the always doing what's right in spite of what you're being told.
Mm-hmm.
He finds his own, right answer. He finds the right answer amidst all of the politics and everything. And that's what made Steve Rogers really Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
In spite of, obviously, his unwavering sense of morality and justice, he was always fighting for the little guy.
Mm-hmm.
John Walker has always fought for others, but put himself ahead in the sense that, we get the whole moment of, and kind of, there's a lot of mirroring to Iron Man,
mm-hmm.
but in kind of the opposite way, where, he's like, I am Captain America, and in a very aggressive, attacking situation.
Yeah.
And so, we kind of see part of that.
We definitely see that when he's on trial. Like, everybody outside is attacking him, the people that are, basically having him essentially court-martialed. And,
court-martialed, but they can't totally, strip him of everything he's done, because he's obviously done so much for the country and so much for, for the country.
Everything, pretty much.
Everything.
So, I mean,
he is an amazing soldier. He's best of the best for as far as the U.S. military can produce.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers just happened to be the anomaly that got into the military. And when he became the super soldier, he was the perfect Captain America. And so we see that, as much as John has done, he's still no Captain America.
He doesn't fully understand what it is to be Captain America.
Yeah. And let's talk about that fight a little bit, because that fight was so impressive. Just everything, the way it was shot, the way they incorporate, how strong John is with the super soldier serum now, and, Sam using the full-on thrusters of Red Wing in order to try and, break the grip of John.
Yep.
And John still, is able to just throw him down. There's a couple moments where it seems like Sam and Bucky are going to get the better of him, but he flips it around, and there are times where you think he's going to get the better of Sam and Bucky, especially when he smashes Bucky and, his arm starts
malfunctions.
Yeah. You see a lot of that, and you really have no idea where this part of the thing is going to go, where this fight is going to go. And I'm really glad about that, because, you called that they were going to, Sam and Bucky were going to come in and kick the crap out of John Walker and take the shield. But leading into that scene, I'm like, oh man, is Matt right? Oh, but wait, he might not be right. Wait, he could be. No, he's not.
It was definitely back and forth through the entire fight.
It was back and forth where it could seem like any one of them could win the fight. But eventually, Sam and Bucky do take John out.
Yep.
Bucky breaks John's arm, which is super brutal, but definitely necessary and efficient, because it's his left arm. It's the one he holds the shield with.
It's the one he holds the shield, yeah.
And then when Bucky gets the shield, he gives it to Sam. He tosses it to Sam, who's on the ground just after his wings have been torn off
by John, yeah.
And it's just, it's a very poignant scene, because it's Bucky acknowledging that that's what Steve wanted. and that Sam is also the best choice to be Captain America.
But you also see it, like, in Bucky's eyes. He's like, if you, like, you better hold on to this, because I'm not doing this shit again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if you give up the shield again, I'm taking it. It's mine. I'm vibranium arm, vibranium shield.
Yep.
I'm going to be a wrecking ball of force.
Yep.
I mean, he was in the comics. So.
He was.
He was pretty brutally efficient.
Yes. Yes.
But, yeah, Sam gets the shield. We get the court-martial for John Walker.
We get introduced to a new character. Contessa... Oh, Jesus.
Contessa
Valentina della... Crap.
This is something we should have written down.
It's a long ass...
It's a whole title.
It's a long-ass name.
Anyways, she's...
In the comics, she's affiliated with Hydra. She's Madam Hydra.
She's affiliated with Hydra, but also with S.H.I.E.L.D. and also with the Avengers, and also with other groups. She kind of bounces around. Is put her at the level of an anti-hero.
Yes, I can.
Where, like, you know, she'll do good if it aligns with their interests. She'll do bad if it aligns with their interests.
Did not expect it to be Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, legendary actress Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Did not expect that.
With that little streak of purple going through her hair too, to kind of mimic the comic book character.
Yep.
And she's very dismissive of John Walker's wife, and
she's
very
like,
authoritative.
She knows everything that's going on. Like, she knows that he took the serum, like the shield. Like, he doesn't have the shield.
Like, he doesn't have the shield, and that he's going to be looking for a place to belong.
Yep.
As of now, John Walker is basically going to be U.S. Marshal and start... Agent Marshal. Agent Walker, U.S. guy.
John.
Agent John.
Anyways. Yeah, so exactly. He's going to be trying to find his place, and he's in a very vulnerable spot right now, and that's why she approaches him. She has the
this
card.
was my first hint to the... this is the first possible introduction into the Thunderbolts.
Yes, I will agree with that.
Overarching storyline. Julia Louis-Dreyfus might just be the Nick Fury to the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Which, sorry, every time I think about Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I think about Inglourious Basterds and the Dreyfuses.
Yep.
Shoshana! But anyways.
We may have to do that video too.
Oh, dude, I'm so down to talk about Inglourious Basterds. I love that movie. If you want to see that, comment down below. I'm so down to talk about that movie. I love that movie. Christoph Waltz, Daniel Bruhl does a great job in that movie as well. Who's Baron Zemo in this?
Yeah, exactly. That was like the role that pretty much got him.
This role. Yeah, actually, he got very overshadowed by Christoph Waltz. So, fight between Falcon, Bucky, John Walker.
And then he gets court-martialed.
They leave with the shield. John gets court-martialed. Gets an ominous invitation to something. Thunderbolts, probably.
Then we go to Sokovia.
I called this shit. Didn't happen in episode 6.
Didn't happen in episode 6.
Only a slight difference from what you said, but I dropped a couple of it. We see Zemo at the memorial, and Bucky comes up, and you feel like, man, he's ready to just kill him. Like, he's got the gun in his hand. Like, everything's set up for him to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
I did not think he was going to kill him in the slightest bit.
Oh, no.
It was just too like, easily set up. It just felt like, oh, yeah. No, he's not going to kill him. He's obviously a changed person. He's dealt with a lot of the trauma of killing people in the past, and he doesn't want to do it anymore if he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
So, like, we see him, and he pulls the trigger right in Zemo's face, but it's just a click.
And then
he drops
all
the bullets, which is not practical, not even a practical sense of intimidation or resolve.
Well, I mean, like, it just shows
that he's beyond killing him.
Yeah, he could have, because he has bullets.
Yeah, like, it shows that he could have killed him, and that it shows that, you know, he's giving a mercy, that he's moved on beyond what Zemo did to him and how Zemo used him. Mm-hmm. But, like, there's really not a lot of tension in the scene because you know he's not going to actually do anything.
He's not going to actually do anything. And then
we know Zemo's going to be coming back for whatever Thunderbolts shenanigans is going to happen.
And then the Dormelage come up and
take him. And they say they're going to take him to the raft. We're going to take him to the raft.
The raft.
And it's not the first time we've heard this, but in all the other instances where people have been taken to the raft, either they've been sprung free or they're not part of the continuity anymore. Mm-hmm. AKA, like, Luke Cage's brother got taken to the raft, but the Luke Cage series is probably not canon anymore. Same thing with Jessica Jones. Her sister went to the raft, but it's probably not canon anymore.
Yeah.
That being said, I really hope Daredevil comes back.
I do too, because they cast that perfectly.
Oh man, he was so good.
So perfect.
He was so good. He could have been believably blind.
Oh yeah.
Like, the way he played that character was so believable.
It was.
That, like, you would have thought he was blind going into that.
Yep.
Phenomenal portrayal, and just his role as Daredevil was spectacular.
Oh yeah.
We'll flash the actor's name on the screen because I can't remember exactly what his name is.
I don't remember the name of the
Charlie
actor.
Cox, I think.
Charlie Cox, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna have to display that on.
But I can totally remember the guy. I remember the character's name that he played.
I freaking hope so.
Matt Murdock. Who has a very in the comics
might come up in Spider-Man.
Might, yes.
Might.
Which Daredevil has a really big problem with giving away his secret identity in the comics.
And that's like
to
the
women.
Whole premise of Spider-Man coming up.
And that's exactly, and like that's the whole that's the whole joke. Like, he keeps giving away his secret identity to the women he sleeps with.
Oh yeah.
Which that also list is massive.
As far as Daredevil goes, half the women he exposes his identity to, they already know.
True.
I mean,
they figured it out.
Elektra, who already knows that he's Daredevil, like, yeah. Blah, 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 blah.
We're getting off track. We're getting off track.
There's a big scene with Sam and Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
Sam seeks out Isaiah after he gets the shield and wants to understand what happened to him and
why he didn't become Captain America.
And it literally just came down to color.
Yeah.
Like, the U.S. government at the time was not willing to make a black Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And it further cements the point that Sam's going to become Captain America, whether the government likes it or not. And we'll get to hear why Isaiah is so incredibly angry and bitter towards.
Well, I mean, rightfully so.
Absolutely.
Like, rightfully so. Like, the entire.
He's 100% justified.
Easily.
It just shows the contrast in ideals between Isaiah and Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Sam goes there looking for guidance, looking for.
He goes looking for an answer.
Yeah, he looks for answers towards, what he should do. He has the shield now. Steve had already given it to him. Like, he's really just battling with the fact that he is going to be Captain America. He just doesn't want to because he doesn't feel like he lives up to what the shield represents.
What Steve represented as Captain America, yeah.
But, like, this whole series has been pointing to the fact that he is exactly what Steve wanted to represent in the shield. Mm-hmm. And why he gave the shield to Sam instead of Bucky, or instead of, like even Sharon Carter becomes Captain America at some point. There's a whole lot of roads we could have gone down, but Sam was the obvious choice.
Yeah.
And, this whole series is pretty much just building up Sam to being Captain America. Mm-hmm. And we get that whole training montage.
Yeah, which I thought that's where you were going at first with the 80s reference. This is a massive training montage.
Man. That's just the only other 80s
for an undisclosed amount of time.
Yeah, dude. Like,
with the amount of training that he had to do, it would have taken...
It's gotta be a montage! Montage!
It would have taken at least a good minimum a month.
Oh yeah,
minimum a month.
But like they play it out in the fact that, like, not only does he have the shield and he knows he's not going to give it to Isaiah. Isaiah doesn't want it. And he's done with it. He doesn't want anything to do with anything. He comes to start accepting the responsibility of having the shield, and then rebuilding the boat, and having that leadership role, as much as he gets talked down during that whole scenario. And just, like, it's the little things that kind of build up. Mm-hmm. And, Sam and Bucky start becoming actual friends.
Yeah, they definitely bonded through this episode, and it shows. And
don't flirt with my sister. Yeah. and there's definitely some flirty moments.
Oh yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
Bucky can't help himself. I mean,
it's kind of set up a little bit with like the failed potential relationship between him and
the waitress, the bartender at the first episode
at the sushi restaurant. Mm-hmm. And we also get the line of Bucky actually confronting everything that he's afraid of. Like, you can't solve all the issues with violence. It has to be done, genuinely.
Mm-hmm. Go out there and help people.
Anyways.
So after the training montage,
which, during the training montage, I just gotta point out that Sam is getting really freaking athletic.
Mm-hmm.
He gave up the wings after John had destroyed them. Mm-hmm. Basically ripped them off of him, and he gave them to Torres, which, next Falcon, boom. And then we get the whole training montage of him training with the shield and trying to be Captain America.
Mm-hmm. He's trying to be... Yeah.
He's trying to control the shield, know how it flows, knows how to catch it and throw it and maximize what he can do with the shield. And, it just shows that, like, a little bit of vibranium can really even the odds between a normal man and a super soldier in the right hands.
Yep.
Which is a great setup, because obviously Sam has denied that he would ever take the super soldier serum, even if he was given the chance. He would destroy it, pretty much. It's like, and for me.
Yeah. He does make that abundantly clear. And, like, he shows it in this episode, like, even a normal man could still handle the shield and still be Captain America. Then we get the shot of Carly talking to Batrock.
Yeah.
With a bunch of explosives and grenades.
Before we get to that scene, we see Sharon on the phone.
With Batrock.
With Batrock.
Who's cursing at her in French.
Yes. So good. I mean, George St. Pierre is French-Canadian, so obviously he speaks fluent French, and on the phone, you hear him screaming at Sharon in French, cursing at her. And she's also just, like, not having any of it.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, whatever.
You're done.
You're done. Do this thing that I'm telling you to do, because she's got the balls in this situation. Another hint that, they're trying to push towards the power broker Sharon.
They're trying to push the power broker Sharon, but I'm still not falling for it. Still not going for it.
No, it's gotta be a red herring. It's gotta be. I can't see any other reason why they're pushing it so hard towards Sharon.
Yeah.
Other than it being a red herring, because it's just too obvious at this point.
So then they meet with Batrock, and then they set up pretty much the GRC, which is trying to vote on whether to deport all the refugees back to their countries of origin, which is so messed up.
Yeah, I mean, not to get political, but it's a very anti-American, but also still very much what the American government is kind of about at the same time.
Conservative, man.
It's a very, touchy subject in terms of immigration and everything, but it really puts the people forward as it should, and as all things should be. It's like, it should be focused on the people.
Yes, but like as
the people,
all the people that were in at the meeting, they're all arguing like, if you do this, we don't have the resources to support all these refugees coming back.
And you say that because they're not willing to cut their defense bill.
Well, no, not even just us, just like everywhere, like foreign governments, because they're all part of the GRC trying to solve this, and they're saying we don't have the resources. If you send everybody back, we just don't have it. We don't have.
Yeah, no, and it's saying each individual country, if you were to send all these people back, each individual country would not have the resources,
and they would
take in this massive influx of refugees,
and they would just be suffering in the settlement camps that they've been.
But this is what the government. I mean, it's technically the UN at this point, but it's pretty much the U.S. government dictating where these people are going to go.
Yeah. And then we see that all the people from the Flag Smashers take over.
Yeah.
And then that's when we see Sam open the case, but we don't see what's in it.
Yeah, but people that know.
Yeah, they know.
If you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this part.
They know.
It's some badass vibranium wings.
you know.
It's some badass vibranium wings. I mean,
I think it's
in
the
the
whole
comics,
suit. I think it's the whole suit.
Well, yeah, it's probably the whole suit. I mean, vibranium
suit.
does a lot of crazy crap in this universe.
It's true.
Yeah, so it's probably a suit that takes one form, and then when he puts it on, takes the form of the whole suit.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the years, Falcon has had several different abilities, and a lot of it's been attributed to his vibranium suit as well. But they were gained throughout the years. It'll be interesting to see what abilities he has with the suit and the shield right out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how much are they willing to put into, you know, Sam being Captain America, being Captain Falcon. He's Captain Falcon.
It's Captain Falcon.
I mean, he's Captain Falcon.
And then
even though the new Falcon's going to be Taurus, but
yeah. Then after that, we get a mid-credit scene. First mid-credit scene of the entire series.
yeah,
We get a mid-credit scene of John Walker making his own shield.
yes, using his Medals of Honor
Yes.
to embroider his own Captain America shield. It's basically a carbon copy of Captain America's shield, except it's made of plain steel, and B, it's embroidered with his Medals of Honor.
Medals of Honor, yeah. Exactly.
If the government isn't going to recognize him as a 3-time Medal of Honor recipient, then he's going to hammer it in their face.
Yep.
Basically. And the shield is the perfect way to do that because, as we've seen with the fight with Bucky and Sam, he doesn't let go of the shield at any point. He doesn't
really throw it. No, he doesn't throw it really.
Onto it.
Yeah,
it's
he uses
a battering weapon.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no point. Like, I was expecting a kind of reverse Bucky and Cap versus Iron Man with Bucky and Sam versus
John. Yeah.
Where he's throwing the shield in between the two of them and fighting them off with the shield until they get the better of him, as opposed to Steve and Bucky using the shield congruently to beat down Iron Man until he can't fight anymore.
Yeah, true. I was expecting more like I was expecting that fight it to be like kind of like that fight, but more Bucky and Sam were Bucky and Steve.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that seems like the easy route to go, and that's kind of why I didn't expect it. I definitely saw it as a possibility.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I was kind of looking forward to them, taking what we know and just kind of turning it around a little bit. Which is exactly what they do in this episode, is they take the fights that we're familiar with and calls back to them, but flips them in some sort of way.
Alright, so speculations.
Last episode. Oh, man. So we got Zemo on the raft.
Zemo's on the raft, yeah.
Sharon is pulling strings, sending freaking George St. Pierre with the Flag Smashers. We got Sam with the new suit.
Yeah, because we didn't see...
got Bucky kind of cut off from Wakanda.
For a little while.
For now. I mean, she definitely kept it open-ended. Mm-hmm. Just stay out of Wakanda for now.
Yeah, for a little while.
There's so much that could happen. And there's so much that has happened that we haven't seen coming yet that I have a tough time figuring out what might come after this.
Okay, so I'm going to change one of my predictions. I'm going to say that... Okay, so I originally said that Carly and 3 others are going to survive. I don't know if Carly's going to survive now. I think if she does survive, it'll be barely, and she ends up with Valentina, essentially.
Yeah.
And they start their whole thing, and then I think she's not going to make it. I think she's going to die in the next episode, probably somewhere near the end. I still think we're going to get the appearance by the Power Broker in the next episode. I still think only 3 of the Flag Smashers are going to make it. And I think from the trailer, if you didn't see it, for episode 5, we haven't seen it yet. But when Carly
the
kicks
trailer
the shield,
for
when
episode
Carly
6
kicks,
is out.
Yeah, it is. But
I haven't watched it.
Anyway,
definitely stayed away
when
from
Carly kicks the shield, that's John Walker's shield, not Sam's.
Okay, so it's not the actual.
It's not the actual vibranium shield. No, I think it's going to be John's shield.
Okay. I definitely see that happening. Man, there's really so many directions I can go with this.
It's true.
It's so hard to say what they're going to do. I'm feeling. I mean, dang, it's hard to say what's going to happen. I want to give some predictions, but I really don't have a whole lot to go off of here. Because they really went in all directions with how this could end.
Sure.
We got John Walker, now a free agent, vigilante. And he made his own shield. Buddy's got the super soldier serum.
Yep.
And so I see him coming into a big fight. And Sam, with the shield and the new wings, is going to make an impressive debut as Captain Falcon.
Yes.
Bucky, man. Bucky's got a lot of reconciliation to do. And
I want him to do like the same thing that they did in Winter Soldier, where Sam's next to Steve in the hospital. I want to do the same thing, but Sam's seeing Bucky and sitting next to Bucky in the hospital. And it's on your left.
Yes.
If they do that, or some variation of that, I would be very happy with that too.
I'd be alright with that.
I'd be okay with that. Like a good callback to Winter Soldier.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Any callback to Winter Soldier is always a good move.
Yes.
My favorite movie. But I mean, there's got to be some reconciliation between Bucky and
This is Nakajima.
I knew his name. You just said it before me. Because I'm slow right
Beat
now.
me by 1 second.
Beat me by a second. Bastard. Anyways.
That was from Ultron, by the way.
Calling back to movies we haven't even reviewed. Anyways.
My God, there's so many friggin' Marvel movies.
There really are. I mean, man. Can you imagine what our channel would be if we had started this with Iron Man?
Dude, yeah.
Who knows? We could be exactly where we are right now because we only just got a badass camera.
Great camera, yep. But
doesn't matter. We're in the big times now.
That's right. But yeah, if you're done, I think that just about wraps it up.
I mean, talked about the Thunderbolts tie-in. We talked about Isaiah And Sam, I mean, there's a lot we can go into with Isaiah and Sam, with the whole, like, just the outlook on it. As Isaiah is content with being dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's done with everything. After being in jail, in prison for 30 years, he has no illusions about how Captain America is and what his role in the whole overarching thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a poignant thing for Sam, because he gets to see how disillusioned... Well, not disillusioned. That's actually a terrible word for it. But how difficult it is for a black superhero.
Mm.
And even in the modern day, you know, how can we see a black Captain America?
Yeah.
And will it be recognized by the government?
I guess we'll have to see next episode.
And we'll probably see that next episode.
Alright.
I'm excited about that. I'm so excited about this last episode.
Me too.
And I'm so sad that it's the last episode. I want to watch more. It's done so well, but when you watch them all in order, the pacing is significantly faster.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a lot's happening all at once. Then you watch them all one after the other. Having week to week gives you a lot of perspective about what's going on, and kind of gives you a sense of time in between episodes too, because there is some stretched time in between episodes. Seems like they thought of everything for the series. Love it. It's so good. Anyways, here's to you, man.
Here's to me.
Friends for life, we shall always be.
If by chance we disagree,
Well, then screw you. Well,
here's to me. Arrogant Bastard. Find it in stores near you. Cheers.